Hi, beginning band friends. We're going to talk a little bit today about rhythm and about foot marking and diagramming our rhythms. Of course, it's important that you know how to read the treble and or bass clef, and that you know how to read the lines and spaces so you can play the right notes and then know which buttons to push down on your instrument or which key to strike or where to put the slide. Of course, that's all very important, but it doesn't mean a lot if we don't have rhythm and we don't play correct rhythms. Rhythm is king. Let's take a look at this page from your folder, Diagramming and Footmarking, and we're actually going to start here in the middle. We've talked about quarter notes, and we've talked in class about the beat. Okay? For all intents and purposes right now, we're just going to be referring to this measure and this time signature of 4/4 time and quarter notes with a quarter note getting the beat. As we're counting through a measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 4 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. But there's a second half of it. Every number, every beat also has an and. This ties in with what our feet are doing when we're tapping our feet like we've done in class. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Down, we're thinking the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. When our feet are going up, we're thinking about the and. And, and, and. 4/4 time. Short version, good working definition for right now is that this tells us that there are 4 beats in a measure, or in this case, 4 quarter notes in a measure. This 4 is kind of code for a quarter note. So this is telling us that there are 4 quarter notes in the measure, or there are this many of this kind of thing. We're going to see a mostly 4/4 time for a while here. And you can think of it as having as the top number telling us 4 beats in a measure, and that quarter notes get the beat. That's not the perfect definition. It's a good working definition that will help you for right now, and we'll talk a little bit more later about some exceptions and a different way to look at it. But for right now, 4 beats in a measure and 4 quarter notes would fit into the measure. Okay, so with 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Moving up, half notes. Well, a half note is worth 2 quarter notes. So if we can fit 4 quarter notes in a measure of 4/4 time, we can only fit in 2 half notes because each one of these half notes is equivalent to 2 quarter notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So what our feet are doing is exactly the same. And if we were counting out loud, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's exactly the same. What's different are these things, the sound lines. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Ta, 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 ta. 4 separate notes. Here, there are only 2 separate notes. Ta, ta. Each one of these gets 2 down-ups from our feet. And so that sound line goes over both of those counts. Up here, we have a whole note. A whole note. 4 quarter notes fit inside of a whole note, so 4 counts for this note. Again, numbers 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and exactly the same. Same number of down ups from our feet, but now the sound lasts the whole time. Da, while our foot is going up and down 4 times. In the world of the rests, the whole rest, the half rest, and the quarter rest, the counts and the feet are doing the exact same thing, but there is no sound. Our 3 elements of footmarking and diagramming are sound lines, footmarks, and our counting. This is, of course, a really down and dirty, short, rough lesson about how this stuff works. We're going to go over it more and reinforce this in class, but for right now, your assignment is going to be to footmark and diagram the first 3 lines on rhythm sheet 1. I'm going to do a couple things with you, and then you'll do the rest on your own. I like to do the counts first. 1 and, 2 and, 3 and, 4 and. If you'll notice, really all I'm doing is copying what's right here. That gets it down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and each gets its own individual sound line. Some of the biggest mistakes I see people make, did I say P? People make? Oh my gosh. Some of the biggest mistakes I see people make include starting with an up arrow. Your foot goes down first, so make sure you're starting with a down arrow. I also see people just being really sloppy with it. The whole point of this is that you're lining up the arrows and the numbers with this note. This that doesn't help you out. That doesn't do anything. That's a mess. Make sure that it's neat enough that you can actually use this to identify each individual beat, getting the numbers and the arrows that go with it. So do the rest of line A. That should be pretty easy since every measure is identical. And then go down to line B. Let's do the first measure together. 1 and, 2 and. Now we have a half note. 3 and, 4 and, worth 2 counts there. Quarter note gets down up. Quarter note gets down up. Half note gets 2 down ups because it's worth 2 beats. Quarter note gets a sound line for 1 beat, sound line for 1 beat, and now a sound line over 2 beats. Now, if you've just done measure B with me, you're going to be able to copy that for the last measure of line B. And then you can figure out these others, I hope. Then you'll do line C. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do for the next time in class. You want to do the rest of the page, you're more than welcome. A couple things I'd like to point out. That is a mistake. That's just an ink smudge. It's not a dot for a dotted half note. And then once you start to come upon your rests, like this quarter rest here, remember that it functions just like a quarter note in every way except no sound line, because there's no sound happening there. So you have to do lines A through C. I'm going to check those next time you're in class. Otherwise, you're welcome to do the rest of the page, but you don't have to yet. That'll be due later, but if you like to work ahead, please feel free to knock yourself out with that. All right. Awesome. Band kids are the best kids. Thank you. I'll see you soon.